What is the least amount of money I can pay and maximum amount of work I can extract? If that is the thought process of a business owner, then that business owner is bound to fail. Because think about it, then naturally your team members come with the thought process of what's the least amount of work I can do and maximum amount of money I can demand. Now this is where a big question arises for a lot of business owners. And the question is, how do we pay people fairly and transparently so that they are happy and they are driven to contribute to the workplace? And that's why in this video, I'm going to break down for you some core principles and practices when it comes to doing fair salary appraisals for your team members. Now, the first thing you need to understand is this. When it comes to doing salary appraisals, the worst thing that you can do is pay people an increment based on your personal relationship with them. This is an appraisal of bias. Just because someone's nice to you, sweet to you, and you like them, you give them a higher increment. Just because somebody is not listening to you and you don't share a good deep rapport with them doesn't mean that you pay them a lesser increment. The key is this: salary appraisals need to be done based on performance, based on capability, and based on data. And for that, you need to understand some core principles and practices. So the first practice is this. People often ask, how often or how frequently should we appraise people's salary? Well, the option is yours. If you want a more staggered increment to be given to your team members, then you can do it once in 6 months where you revise people's salaries. Once a year minimum and once a year is a good standard. So when it comes to frequency, it can be annually or biannually. Then the second question business owners often ask is, Rajiv, should we increase the salary for everybody at the start of the financial year itself? In my practical understanding of cash flows of businesses, what I've found most healthy to do is you don't make a standard period for salary appraisals. Do the salary appraisals based on the month of joining of the team member. So if someone joined in November, every year in November you do their appraisal. Someone joined in April, every year in April you do their appraisal. Someone joined in June, then do the appraisal accordingly based on the June cycle for them. The advantage of this is that while you are increasing people's salary based on their joining dates or joining months, you are staggering the requirement of your business when it comes to cash flows. Otherwise, what happens is, let's just say you are doing it at the beginning of the financial year for all your team members, then suddenly there's a bump in expenses every year from the month of April, and it creates a kind of a stress on your cash flows. So I love the cycle of based on the joining month of an employee because it serves the purpose of cash flow management for a business. Now, the next most obvious question is, how do I make sure that the salary appraisal is fair to the company and is fair to the individual? And how do we create transparency so there is no conflicts when it comes to salary appraisals and expectations of people? For that, there are certain practices that you as a business owner or a management team need to undertake at the beginning of the appraisal cycle of an individual. So say for example, I have a team member on my team whose name is Manju. Now, Manju joined us in the year 2020 in the month of July, which means July is a salary appraisal period. Now, what I need to do for Manju is for the coming year, if we are looking at the financial year 2023-2024, then for the coming year before July, I need to sit with Manju and let him know what are the goals he needs to achieve in his role, what are the skills and knowledge areas which he needs to show improvement in and show growth in, and what are the attitude attributes he needs to work on so that he fits into the culture of the organization fully. Now, when I define this for Manju at the start of the appraisal cycle, he knows exactly what he will be measured on for the next 1 year. That creates great clarity and transparency for Manju, and he can't come back and point a finger at me saying, you didn't tell me what is expected out of me, now you're telling me I've not met your expectations. So I put out my expectations for Manju at the beginning of the year itself. Now, while I define these goals, I also need to define for Manju what are the weightages to be given to each one of these goals. What percentage of his appraisal budget will be allocated to his result achievement? What percentage of his appraisal budget will be allocated to his skill and knowledge growth? And what percentage of his appraisal budget will I allocate to his attitude fitment? Because I can't divide the appraisal budget into 33% for an individual. That would be unfair. Obviously, for me, the higher priority is the results he achieves in his goals. So probably I may attribute, say, about 75% to that, and probably skill and knowledge development in his job role is the second big priority for me, and I may attribute 15% for that and 10% for his attitude fitment. So this prioritization and weightage has to be clear to Manju so he knows exactly what is most important for him. because it shouldn't be that at the end of the year, Manju's just a good team player who is not throwing any negative behaviors on other team members. He's very respectful, empathetic, and because of that one reason, he is expecting that he gets a great appraisal. The weightage has to be clear to him, saying, look, here's the weightage for results, and here's the weightage for skill and knowledge, here's the weightage for attitude. So that is very important for me to define at the beginning of the year. The next aspect is, once I've created these goals for Manju, I don't abandon him for the next 1 year. If I am his manager, then I need to make sure on a monthly basis I'm doing reviews with Manju and I'm giving him feedback on his results, on his skill and knowledge, and on his attitude, with evidences of instances where he's done well, where he's not done well, and where he needs to show a change, and I need to give him the solution. I need to provide the mentoring to him of how to change and how to achieve those results or how to develop those skills and knowledge. So that is a monthly engagement I need to have with my team members. Now, if you already have a very large team, then you need to do this as a business owner with your managers, and your managers need to do this with their respective individual team members. The key is this: everyone needs to be reviewed on a monthly basis. Everyone needs to be given feedback at a one-to-one level of what they have done well, not doing well, and need to do differently in these 3 parameters. So that's where you are fulfilling your responsibility as leaders and enabling and empowering people to become better version of themselves so that they can achieve their goals. Once you do that, there are 2 more steps for you to have a very fair and transparent appraisal system. But before I go to those 2 more steps, I have a special gift for you. In the description below, I have placed a link of a 40-minute high-intensity training which I have curated for my high-value customers. I'm giving this away for free to anyone who's committed to building a scalable and a profitable business. So if you are a business owner and you're genuinely hungry to build a scalable and profitable business, then click on that link and watch that video till the end, because I break down some amazing realities about the science of building a scalable, profitable business. That's a little gift from my side. Make sure you utilize it, because that link will expire in a few days. The next aspect that you need to focus on to do an appraisal in a transparent and a fair manner is, while you've created clarity of goals and the weightage at the beginning of the year, and you're doing reviews and feedback consistently on a month-to-month basis, just before the end of the cycle of the appraisal, you need to calculate your budget for the appraisal. Now, how do you calculate the budget? Well, you take into consideration the financial realities of your business. What has been the performance of your business over the last 1 year? What is the current cash flow status looking like? What is the future prospect and the potential of the business looking like? Now, if all is well, you can give an optimistic appraisal. If things are not that great, not that bad, then you give a moderate appraisal percentage. And if things are looking very grim and dark, then you give a very conservative appraisal percentage. So you decide on a percentage of appraisal, and based on that percentage of appraisal, you come up with the budget or the overall number you are willing to stretch to for that individual. Now, say for example, Manju's salary is 25,000 rupees, and say we decide to give a 20% appraisal this year because the year looks great. So 20% would be 5,000 rupees. Now, should I give Manju that entire 5,000 rupees? No. Based on the results, based on the skill and knowledge growth, and based on the attitude fitment, and based on the weightages to each one of these 3, I will divide that 5,000 rupees and then go into the 4th step, which is calculating the appraisal. Now, I'll calculate the appraisal based on those 3 parameters that I created clarity of and the weightage I drew out at the beginning of the year. And I will know exactly how much money Manju deserves. And I will sit down and do this calculation along with Manju, because everything is transparent. His goals were transparent at the beginning of the year. The feedback and review have made sure what are the expectations, where he's aligning, where he's falling short. So everything is transparent. Together, me and Manju can sit and do the calculation and showcase to Manju saying, hey, this is what you've deserved. This is what you've earned for yourself. This is a very fair and a transparent mechanism of doing appraisals. Now, of course, there are multiple dimensions and dynamics that come into play, which is where, what if the team members done their job but the business is not growing and the business is not financially strong? Then what do we do? There's another dynamic that comes into play saying, even though we do the transparent appraisal, people's expectations are higher because competitors are willing to pay a higher salary. Then what do we do? There's another dimension that comes into play saying, what if I have done a fair and transparent appraisal, but the person's being unreasonable and unrealistic and is being overtly demanding and it's very, very unfair? Then what do we do? If you'd like to learn all these things, then honestly, these solutions have to be customized and personalized for your business, which I'm happy to do for you. For that, I need you to watch the 40-minute video training, which I'm giving away to you for free. And then after that, we can work with you one-to-one and help you do these things in a manner which is suitable to your business, your industry, your team members' expectations, in a manner where it actually works for your finances, and you also give openly and fairly to your team members so that they are happy as well. So here's what you need to do next. Click on that link in the description, go through the 40-minute training and explore the way forward. I'll see you in the next video.